What do you think the Japanese flag looks like? This was what the woman said.
Fancy having a flag with a poached egg on it.
Unfortunately, a Japanese officer happened to overhear her words. As punishment, she was forced to kneel in the middle of the training ground, under the scorching sun of over 30 degrees, surrounded by sharpened bamboo stakes. If she fainted, the consequences would be unimaginable. After less than half a day, she was already dizzy and faint, her lips cracked, and her skin burned from the sun. But even so, she stubbornly refused to bow her head or apologize to the Japanese army. Losing patience, the officer walked slowly up to her, drew the saber from his waist, while the crowd could only watch helplessly. No one dared to step forward. These women had once been the wives of wealthy families, living leisurely lives, traveling with their husbands every day. But that day, while dancing, they suddenly heard an explosion outside, shattering their once happy lives. It turned out that this was during World War II, and Singapore had fallen under Japanese invasion. The wealthy families began their escape, thinking that as long as they made it back to Shanghai, they would be safe. But the brutal Japanese soldiers had no intention of letting them go. Shells flew overhead, and before they could react, bombers arrived. With no other choice, they jumped into the water to survive. Unfortunately, the three women were separated from the rest of the group. They drifted at sea for an entire night before spotting a small island in the distance. Overjoyed, they headed toward it. But once ashore, they ran into a large unit of Japanese soldiers. A commanding officer, seeing that they looked attractive, warmly invited them into his vehicle, claiming he had once studied in England and promising to protect them. The three women naively believed his lies. He brought them to a small town, and the women still thought they had met a good man. But this was only the beginning of a nightmare. Without warning, they were slapped and brutally beaten, before being sent to a women's internment camp. Clearly, it was a place to enslave them. One woman claimed she was American and demanded her human rights, but a Japanese soldier immediately struck her with a punch. So much for American human rights in that place. Even the food they were given was no better than pig slop. One day, the Japanese soldiers prepared to bathe and ordered the women to fetch water from the mountain. The three enslaved women thought of a way to get back at them. They urinated directly into the buckets. But just then, several patrolling Japanese soldiers came over.